You're listening to the Geekscape Network.
Time to fire up the VCR. This one's my favorite. That was gold.
Welcome to Analog Jones in the Temple of Film. I'm Steve.
And I'm Matt.
And we're a VHS podcast that looks at the trailers, box art, and behind the scenes. And we have a returning special guest, Ashley.
I'm back again. You can't escape me.
Well, and this one is because of the vote. Remember a long time ago.
That's true.
Yeah.
You said, if I'm going to come back and it's not going to be Star Wars, it's got to be You've Got Mail.
I did not say that. You can listen back. Steve is the one who said something like, I don't know, You've Got Mail.
Okay.
And then I said, well, now it has to be.
That's
and
what I
then
mean.
Yeah.
You tried to be sneaky and request a couple other things.
Because I tried to get out of it.
Yep. And everyone was like, nope, Steve, you're watching You've Got Mail. And guess what? He did.
I did. I certainly did. Oh, man. You've Got Mail from 1998?
1997.
Just call me Joe.
Joe? Just call me Joe? Sure. As if you were one of those 22-year-old girls with no last name. Hi, I'm Kimberly. Hi, I'm Janice.
She's beautiful,
Don't they know you're supposed to have a last name?
but she's a pill.
You are such a liar.
In life, they know they can't stand each other.
You're taking all the caviar? That caviar is a garnish.
Respect each other.
Joe Fox, F-O-X.
F-O-X.
Or like each other.
Wait.
May I ask who you are?
No.
But what they don't know
Hi.
is that online, they're in love with each other.
I don't know his name or what he does.
This woman is the most adorable creature I've ever been in contact with.
Warner Brothers presents
Do you think we should meet?
a modern-day romance.
Meet.
Why am I compelled to even meet her? She could be a real dog.
Tom Hanks,
See you later. Don't worry about a thing.
Meg Ryan. From the director of Sleepless in Seattle.
What are you girls talking about?
Cyber sex.
You've Got Mail.
I would really appreciate it if you would just go away.
I brought you flowers.
Oh?
Yeah, but I think came out maybe in 98. Like one of those like made in 97 came out in 98 movies.
Released in the theaters December 18th, 1998. And a budget of $65 million. Damn.
Yeah, paying those superstars to be in this film.
And I bet the location money costs a lot too, because this looked like it was almost all in New York.
It seems like New York was almost a character.
You would film, yeah, like constantly, like, hey, by the way, we're in New York.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to 76th Street and not know you're in New York? That might be verbatim. I'm not sure.
Oh my god.
And Starbucks, they probably had to pay them.
Oh, this is a very Starbucks heavy like movie. Like they show it, they're in it, they show the cups. Like this is Starbucks. It was either paid to be a part of this or paid to be a part of this. One of the two.
With how big this film was, I'm so sad that AOL isn't kind of still around. You know, like doing what it was doing.
Yeah, they're. Well, I don't know really what they're doing.
I don't either.
But they're
Couldn't
like
tell ya.
they're like a strung out teen actor or child actor where
Yeah.
you're like they're still around, but
I'm
they're
not
not
sure what they're
really
doing.
around.
It's like you kind of look away from them a lot.
They have a website where they post really shitty articles, and then they have the email still that like really old people still have like at AOL addresses.
Yeah, and I hope they still pay for them.
Ooh. Yeah, you had to pay for those
Maybe
back
they
in the
have
day.
like a stockpile of
The free discs.
Free discs.
Still working it, baby. And those old people are still calling like, I don't know if I want it anymore. And they're like, we'll send you more CDs.
More. Here you get all those CDs in mail. You're like, I'm gonna have free internet forever. I'm never gonna have to pay for an email. Guess what? You don't have to pay for an email anymore.
I have like 45 emails and they're a mess.
Yes.
AOL. Wow. I don't even know. I don't know what my name was for my old AOL account. It's like gone in my memory.
It was Evil Dead Batman 913 was mine.
What are you talking about? Like AIM account? I can't remember.
Well, it's both. It was my at AOL. So
Yeah,
I'm sure you could send an email to evildeadbatman913@AOL.com, and somewhere you are emailing me, but I have long since
How long
shuttered
do
that
they keep
account.
those alive, you think?
I don't know. Like
Maybe forever.
I don't think I would ever be able to remember. I do think now that you're saying I like made an email because I was like a kid and I was like, I'm gonna make an email, and then I did, and I have no memory because it wasn't the same as AIM because I didn't get that till later.
Oh, see, I didn't get an AOL email until I got
I did
AIM.
because I wanted to be like an adult, and then I was like, I'm not gonna use this.
Yeah, I don't think I got like an email until like 04 when I was like 14.
Yeah, I've gone from an AOL to a Yahoo to a Hotmail to a Gmail.
Oh, I have a at live.com, but it's Hotmail. Shh, don't tell anybody. And then Gmail.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, good old outdated technology.
This is riveting conversation.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that talk because we are talking about a 20-year-old movie about email communication. So there's going to be a lot
I feel like between the two of you, it's kind of like, oh, you've got mail. Blah. This movie's fantastic, don't you even?
I like this movie. There's nothing wrong with this movie. It's just like it's not as exciting as like a Now and Then or like something where we're talking.
Ooh, that's rough. When Matt goes, I like this movie. You're like, uh-oh.
It's the greatest insult of all time because I live with you and I've heard you like defend movies of that caliber, and I'm like, don't you dare put that in that region.
That's where I put this one. I like this movie, but it's not like my favorite.
If Matt rented this movie, he would return it before it's late, like a whole day before it's late. It'd be like, I don't need this anymore.
I've seen it.
It's okay.
That's how I feel about it.
Oh, that's cute because I owned it.
Well, that'll get us into the history of it. This is only the second time that I have seen this film. I saw it in theaters when it came out. It was a big deal that it was coming out. It was a Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks movie, so my parents wanted to see it. I thought it looked funny. I wanted to see it as like a kid because, I mean, it appeals to everybody. That's one of these movies. It's kids, adults, whatever. It's just one of those general comedies. So I wanted to see it, and I saw it in theaters, liked it. Haven't seen it since, though, until we did it for this podcast. But you really like this, Ashley.
This was probably, if I had to guess, maybe my 376th time viewing this film. Love this movie. My grandma owned this movie. And then it's on TV every fucking day. If I go home to visit my family, this is on TBS or something.
Right after Something's Gotta Give.
Oh, I hate that. Don't you dare bring that up. But yeah, You've Got Mail. It's always on.
I had to put the marquee for this up when I worked in the theater. That's how long ago I worked in the movie theater. Back when it was film, folks. Not this digital bullshit. And I had to put the marquee up, and I could not find the comma between the U and the V. And so they're like, yeah, the apostrophe. I
was like, where's the comma? You've got mail?
I actually,
You,
interesting about this, in the marquee, a comma and they're both the same. So I couldn't find it anywhere, and they're like, "How could you not find it, Steve? It's with all the other marquee, fucking letters and shit." And I'm looking all over for it, and it's freaking pissing me off. So Eureka, Missouri, for the longest time, just had "You've Got Mail."
I mean, I feel like I can read that.
I know what it means.
Well, and they also wanted to put with Tom Hanks.
Oh,
but there wasn't enough room, so it was with Tom Hanks. Like, it was HAKS, and everyone was like, "Eh."
Why not just like T Hanks?
Yeah, T Hanks.
Well, that's what you get when you send a teenager up to do the fucking marquee. I was like, it doesn't fit. Just take away the end. Good enough.
Jesus. You were a mockery. Mockery of the profession.
I would have just singulared him with Tom Hank, because I would have known what it meant.
Yeah, like it cut off or whatever.
Yeah.
Or it fell down.
Yeah.
I thought that the Hanks was very important. Honestly, when I look back at it now, why didn't I put just T Hanks?
T Hanks or Hanks and Ryan?
Or instead of with, just put W.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Tom Hanks, yep.
Again, this is what you get when you pay a child $5 an hour or a teenager to work it, and do the marketing.
It's okay. You can open up about how it was child labor.
$5.25 an hour. That's how much I made at that time period. I'm pretty sure.
My first job, it was $6
$6.25.
$6.50.
Yeah, $6.25
$6.50 was my first job. So yeah, not too far off.
Yeah, and now they make like $15 an hour because like.
Yeah, but I made people food as like pretty much a child. I was like, hello, I put my hands all over this.
I remember when, like making the popcorn and everything, and then people would be like, I think your popcorn's burning, and I'd turn around and be like, oh shit.
Just billows of smoke coming out. It smells awful for the rest of the week.
Again, those cheap bastards would have me ripping the tickets, cleaning the theaters, and doing concessions. And then they're like, do you want to be manager? And I go, this is why this place is going under.
Like, I don't think you understand how to run a business.
But when you put the marquee up, did you see the movie in theaters then?
No.
No.
I think my mom did for free.
Nice.
And she was probably like, ooh, this is their third one together. And I was probably like, I don't know what you're talking about, Mom.
I'm a teenager, and I only like boy movies.
If it doesn't have cry kicks in it, explosions, laser beams, fireballs, or dragons, I'm out.
For most of that, I was like, do you have a retainer in? I can't fucking stand you.
I didn't have braces, but I think I just mumbled my way through teenage years.
Yeah, teenagers mumble.
Especially teenage boys. I mean, I'm sure teenage girls do too, but I'm pretty sure most of us are. I think girls, like, everything they say when they're a teenager is kind of like sarcastic.
For me, yeah.
Yeah. And then I think boys are just like stupid and mumbling.
Boys don't make eye contact and don't open their mouths fully.
Oh man, have I grown up? I think I'm still a teenager.
Correct.
Shit.
Getting into the details again, we have back-to-back movies here in Ladies Month where it's directed by a female. And written.
Nora Ephron, the Gary Marshall of female directors. Safe, romantic.
For the masses.
Movies, which isn't necessarily a problem. I think
she wrote this with her sister, I believe.
Yes, Delia. But
her sister's a little bit more like up there. She does playwrights, and she's a fancy writer.
She is a writer, capital W. She does books, she does screenplays, she does plays. But yeah,
Nora is up in her mansion with her, When Harry Met Sally and Sleepless in Seattle, and You've Got Mail money. So she's like, hey sis, you may be,
Delia's like, I am so prestigious, and I cannot pay my rent this month.
And and Nora's snorting coke off like gold-plated
I was
mirrors.
gonna say she was snorting coke off of Brinkley.
Off Elizabeth Brinkley?
No, the dog Brinkley.
Dog Brinkley.
Oh.
Do you not know the dog's name? It's
a
major part of the movie.
No, but it was an adorable dog.
Precious.
All golden retrievers are
so cute.
So I'm the worst, and I have this on DVD as well as the VHS we watched for this. So I naturally, after we watch the movie, watch the bonus features, all of them, which there's about an hour and a half of bonus features on the DVD.
Really?
Yes. And I was like, well, I'm going to watch all of these
kind
now.
of like a pretty good behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's like a half hour behind the scenes. Then there's a half hour documentary about just like romantic pairings in like Warner Brothers movies, which is an excellent feature, by the way. So if you are into like romantic comedies, like the black and white ones, or even just like the Bogey and Bacall movies and stuff like that, you should pick up this DVD just for that half hour special that's on there. It's excellent. I definitely recommend that.
Does it have explosions, dragons, superheroes, laser beams in it?
But it has old movies in it, and that was something that I liked as a kid. So
I could only say that it has explosive chemistry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't say much. I just watched a documentary on Orson Welles, so I'm just a fucking loser.
Well, you didn't.
Okay.
you didn't stay up until 3:30 in the morning last night watching all the bonus features on the You've Got Mail DVD, but I did.
I fell asleep.
I'm proud of you.
But they're mentioned in the bonus material something I didn't know. You have mentioned here that it's based on a play, but it's also more closely based on an old 40s screwball comedy called A Shop Around the Corner, which I had never heard of at all until I watched this behind the scenes. I did not know that this was a remake, A, and B, that this other movie even existed,
Matt,
period.
I'm going to give you a big duh. Yeah. No,
I didn't know
a
that.
lot of people know that.
I did not know that. I've never heard of this other film.
I've seen it.
I've never seen it.
It's cute.
It looks cute, but yeah, it's based on the play, but more accurately based on that film and that movie's remake later, which I'm forgetting the name of now. But then that had a musical play that Nora Ephron was obsessed with in the 60s as well. So there is like 5 different iterations of this movie before we get to You've Got Mail, which is basically email the movie.
You've got mail.
You've got mail. It's just like the greatest. When you hear that little tone, you're like, I'm immediately rocketed back.
Yeah,
so
this
like
is...
it comes with the beeping and like the
the sign.
You've got mail.
Yep.
But sometimes it takes so long, like it would be delayed. You'd be on the page for a second, and then it would be like, oh, you've got mail.
Yeah, be like, you've got mail. Be like, man, I'm already on my 3rd page here, guy. Like,
I mean, this was when AOL was on top of the world.
Yeah.
There was no stopping them.
Yes.
Until they stopped themselves.
Yeah, until everything came crashing down. But obviously this film stars Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan through their 3rd pairing together.
I would say America's Sweethearts
America's Sweethearts at the time for sure. And just a classic Nora Ephron story.
I don't know if you know this, but when Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan are together, everything in the world is correct. Like there's no violent crimes. No one is hungry, even when they don't eat, not hungry. Yeah. It's a perfect time in the world.
I think it's really selfish of them to not be together at all times.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking, all the problems that we're having in the world right now, Tom Hanks,
we need another
Meg
Tom
Ryan,
Hanks, Meg Ryan movie.
Stop being douchebags
and come together.
Yeah.
And make the greatest film.
Well, I don't know who would make this though, because Nora Ephron is no longer with us. So I don't know who would make this film. Maybe Nancy Meyers.
Nancy Meyers.
But somebody needs to step up to the plate and make a...
What's the other one's name?
There's another one?
Yeah, Nancy Meyers and there's another one.
Oh.
There's probably the only other female.
Yeah, the only other female... Oh, what's her name?
Yeah, and you son of a bitch, can't even remember her name.
Nope, it's gone. Can't remember. But Nancy Myers.
Well,
because I'm a huge Nancy Myers
Nancy
fan.
Myers, the daughter.
The daughter,
she
yeah.
did,
Home Again.
Yeah, well, I just realized that, like, all 3 of these pairings that they did, it was all, pretty much the same director.
Well,
Joe
versus the Volcano.
Joe versus, which is...
What was that?
I looked this up because I was talking about it. I was like, the first pairing was Joe versus the Volcano. I was like, who did that movie? The director has only directed, I think they're a playwright, but the director has only directed one other film besides Joe versus the Volcano, and it is 2008's Doubt, the Meryl Streep nun scandal movie.
What?
Your face says what my face did.
So that guy has directed 2 films in his entire career, Joe versus the Volcano and Doubt.
I'll be honest, I enjoyed both.
Yeah.
Doubt for a completely different reason.
Doubt was a solid-ass movie.
I've never seen Joe versus the Volcano. And
I've only seen it once.
To.
I've only seen it once back in the day, like a long time ago, so I don't remember a goddamn thing about it.
That's a tough VHS. At least I've honestly been looking for that one in the wild for years.
If you do, or if a generous listener sends you guys one, we can do another podcast where I see that for the first time. Because I've seen this thousands of times.
Hundreds and thousands of times.
Yes. Yeah, speaking about how easy this one is to get compared to Joe versus the Volcano, Matt and I were sweating a little bit.
Yeah, down to the wire getting this tape.
We needed to find this tape. I thought he had it, and maybe you thought I had it. And somehow, we're like, okay, you bring it. And it's just like, I don't have it. And it was just like, da-da-da, we're dumbasses.
I think that's unfortunate because, like, I'm sure we at one point should have had it, but like my grandma still likes that movie, so I wasn't able to take her VHS copy.
Well, first place I went to had this, and I was like, You've got to be kidding me.
You've got VHS.
Yes.
You've got VHS.
You've got mail.
Legitimately.
Oh, yeah.
1/4, by the way.
Should we talk about this box art?
Yeah, you've got to get to the box art.
Let's get here. Very simple box art. We've got Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan. Their faces as big as life on the top here with a nice green background.
It almost looks like they're ghosts looking down on themselves.
Yes, ghosts looking down on themselves, hugging, embracing as Brinkley the dog is pulling Tom Hanks away, which is the end of the movie, by the way.
While they are standing on...
Keyboard keys. And the You've Got Mail has the logo with the like American Online You've Got Mail thing with just the mailbox with the cursor over it. And it says it is the best romantic comedy of the year from CBS TV. This was definitely the romantic comedy of 1998. Flipping it over to the back, Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan should win the Nobel Prize for Chemistry, USA Today.
Okay. Like, I get it, but also, like, that's a bold statement.
We've got 3 different pictures, one gigantic one of Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan looking inquisitively at someone else, but doing it together. And then we've got a small picture.
She's specifically annoyed, and he is being charming.
Yes. And then we have Tom Hanks and Brinkley looking at a screen together, and Meg Ryan and Greg Kinnear, who was also a pretty big star at the time, who plays her boyfriend in the film, looking at something together. It's always looking at something with these photos.
I can tell you what they're looking at. So obviously Tom Hanks is responding to an email.
Right, he's on the
Meg
computer.
Ryan, and then Greg Kinnear is watching his tape back from his interview.
Yeah.
I know this movie so well. Yep. You give me an image and I can tell you what scene of the movie it is.
Which, by the way, Greg Kinnear and that lady, oh man, they were fucking each other with their eyeballs.
That scene was hilarious.
What's that? Jane Addams, that woman? Oh, she's great. She's I wish she was in this movie. She's fucking awesome.
I wish there was a follow-up scene with her.
She's so good.
Or a spin-off scene of the two of them.
Yeah, their life together.
A spin-off movie?
You know?
Another spin-off movie.
Yeah. We're really good at pitching those.
So here's our description. For those of you who don't know what You've Got Mail is, if you've been living under a rock for the past 20 years, 3 little words, 3 rapturous words that Joe Fox, Tom Hanks, and Kathleen Kelly, Meg Ryan, long to hear. You've got mail. As frothy as triple latte and as refreshing as a springtime walk.
No.
You've Got Mail delivers all the wit, charm, and warmth you'd expect for the reunion of stars and director Nora Ephron of Sleepless in Seattle. Greg Kinnear, Parker Posey, Gene Stapleton, and more talented co-stars add perfect support to this Valentine, to modem romance, in which that's what tripped me up. In which superstore book chain, what's that word? Magnate?
Yeah.
Magnate, Hanks,
Magnate.
and what?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hanks and cozy children's bookshop owner Ryan, anonymous email cyber pals who fall head over laptops in love, unaware that they are combative business rivals. Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan are magic, Joel Siegel of ABC TV's Good Morning America proclaims. And it's a magic to be shared when you've got mail.
I will say that I think the reason you stumbled so much through it is this is what happens when an actual city like New York writes copy for back of a film.
Modem, anonymous email, cyber
frothy
pals,
latte.
frothy latte.
That
is a barf.
That is when you take a city and write an algorithm of their personality and then let them write content for the back of a VHS.
That.
Yeah, it's
wow.
It's beautiful.
Guess what? I can sum up what this movie is. 2 people running 2 different businesses. One's going to take over the other one, but they secretly love each other and they're writing letters to each other. It's
anonymously over email.
The story has time and time again, like Shop Around the Corner, even movies like Doris Day, Rock Hudson, Pillow Talk. It's the same thing. It's like misdirection. Like you don't know who you're talking to, but you fall in love with the idea of somebody.
It's a story as old as time.
You find love in the one you least expected.
I think
that's what
Democrats and Republicans
Basically,
getting together.
That's what this is about. Yeah,
this is a very political movie too.
But very New York political.
Yeah, it's
movie.
very gentle.
Yeah,
it's a very gentle
politics.
This is 90s politics for you. Nowadays, the old man who ran the company would have had a shotgun and she would have knocked on the door and he'd been like, "What do you want, you liberal?"
Yeah, he would have been like fucking his secretary.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got the visual of that old man banging his secretary.
Beating her up. Yeah, you know. The worst.
Oh, and then pimp slapping her at the end.
Yes, of course.
It's a much darker film.
Yeah, You've Got Mail nowadays would be very dark. Let's...
Well, at least
You've got
subpoenaed.
Let's put this tape in and take a look at the single trailer that we had at this movie.
Shocking.
Yeah, just one trailer, and it was the soundtrack. And I'll be honest, after watching the soundtrack trailer on this, I wanted to buy the soundtrack.
It's a good soundtrack. This one's got a good soundtrack too. We talked about it now and then, but again, the '90s trope of having '70s songs, oldies in your movie.
But then there was also like a lot of Louis Armstrong, big brass songs. Like it was classic, but it felt very New York. It was like city, classic city. Yeah. Like it felt good. All the songs made it feel good.
Wait, Ashley, this movie was made in New York?
I believe this was filmed in and took place in New York.
It's not really a love story about the two of them. It's a love story about two people loving New York.
Oh no, that's a totally different movie. I think.
Yeah.
But it's the exact same movie. It's like I do wonder though if New York was going to cheat, what city would they cheat with?
They would be with LA, but they would cheat on them with Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago's the side piece that's better than the.
It's like you love Chicago, but you don't want to admit it. So you're like, I'm hanging with LA. We're the bad guys.
But we're the good bad.
Bad girl or bad boy? We're the
bad girl.
We're the homewrecker, but we're the homewrecker that's better for it. You know, like they need to open up their eyes and realize.
That's getting a little bit tired of New York's attitude.
Yeah. What if we're the homewrecker at the end? New York goes, actually, I love you, and then we're like, no. Bitch, please.
Yep, we don't need you, Chicago on its own.
It's like we're hanging with Toronto now. It's fine.
Oh, joy! We found our real love.
Yeah,
it's Canada.
Yeah, it's our main bitch.
Oh man!
Wow, that.
So let's talk about this movie, shall we?
Or more cities,
more cities that we're in love with.
No. I mean, with this, like when it goes straight into the feature presentation on this, I want you guys to go to our YouTube channel. I put the entire opening credits to this beautiful, ridiculous 90s 3D rendering of first a globe, then a city, and then
it goes down into the desktop, and I almost screamed. I love it so much.
I mean, it got flagged on YouTube immediately, but we're not monetizing it, so it doesn't matter, bitches.
It don't matter.
And so then it flashes out to the city with all the, like 3D rendering of them, and I fell in love with this. I just this part right here, I was like,
graphics,
this is perfect.
Yeah,
I love it. It flashes me back because like the Warner Brothers logo becomes like a desktop icon, and then it opens, and then we go into the internet. Basically,
it feels very 90s.
Yeah,
which is great.
It's wonderful.
It's very specifically late 90s.
But what I think is hilarious about this movie, and I think this is sort of the overarching thing that I feel the entire movie, and I'll just cover it now, is like we are dealing with email kind of has taken over writing letters to each other, and like the old guys mention that, the real conservative old guys mention, I remember when we used to write letters, and then it's about a big box bookstore taking over for the little shop on the corner bookstore. Everything now, 20 years later, it's all closed. The Borders that have taken over the little shops are now also closed, when they're basically making fun of Borders in this movie. And then You've Got Mail, the email, and the AOL are dead now. Nobody does that.
Yeah, they
just send pictures of dicks to each other through Tinder and shit. Like it's totally different.
Okay, Grandpa.
Yeah, I know.
Never used Tinder before.
when Joe Fox and I guess his dad would probably be dead, but when these two are about to get into a retirement age, they'd be like, this Amazon's closing down our Joe and Son's bookstore.
Literally.
Oh, man.
I can't compete with these Kindles.
So what I do love about this movie is it's all about the new taking over the old, but the new doesn't even exist anymore.
At one point, did you guys think that maybe this was going to go into like corporations are bad? Because you remember when this was, obviously now we talk about it, but do you remember when it started somewhere in the 90s with Walmarts are bad, they destroy small towns?
Yes.
I remember this, and so when I put this in, I hadn't seen this movie since on syndication, I don't know, early 2000s. Even though it's on all the time, I think my brain just goes, nope.
Yeah, you didn't sit down and watch it all the way
through. And then I was like, oh, this is going to be an anti-corporate movie.
It is in a way. It breaks her spirit, but then she ends up just like being with him, and it's fine.
Well, and then she ends up going into the store and kind of like falling in love with the store a little bit too, because she sees like the kids and the kids area. Remember near the end of the movie,
she doesn't fall in
and
love
like,
with the store.
And they're like, she's like, oh, maybe it's not so bad. No, I think
Maybe.
she's thinking maybe it's not so bad after all.
Well, also I think she knows she can't beat it. I mean, look at it. It was ridiculous.
Well, it's ridiculous, but like she's very upset that the thing that kills her, she loves seeing children be excited to read. And I think what she's fond of the store aspect is that these kids have so many options to read. Mm-hmm. But then that woman is like, I'm looking for the shoe books. And the guy's like, who's it by? And then she's like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, it's by this person. This is the entire... Like, she's sad that, like, the spirit of independent owners who are very passionate about their trade is gone. And that's, like, a very sad thing.
It's the soullessness of the corporation. Yeah. It's like they might be able to provide you coffee, like 18 different types of coffee.
Like you being hired to run the movie fucking theater. It's the same thing. This kid is, like, running a bookstore and knows nothing about books.
You should never hire me now to run a theater because it would be all these, like, fucking bizarre movies. We'd make no money.
Yeah.
But I know everything about those stupid movies.
Yeah, exactly.
I would run it right into the ground.
Light it on fire.
Jesus Christ, Steve, you didn't have to burn the place down. Ashley told me to do it.
Said it wasn't working out. Had to burn it down. so this movie is about two people coming together over the internet. Over the emails, if you will. She is known as Shop Girl, and he is NYC 152.
No, he's NY 152.
No, yeah, it's NY 152. Yeah,
whatever.
Because I thought it was NYC. Yeah, it would make sense.
No,
NY
152.
152, which is his address. We find out later, which is funny. But
don't forget that it's an over 30s chat room.
And then over 30s chat room is where they meet.
It's about to get sexy. No, I was like, where is all of, like...
the dirty
like,
talk?
We're seeing all of their, like, this is about my life. These are big conversations. I'm like, but what about on the daily when you're like, what are you doing, girl?
What
like,
you wearing?
You know? Like, where's all the sexy talk? Because you know they are sexual beings.
Yeah. Oh, God, they're made to be so non-sexual in this movie. It's almost kind of weird.
It's crazy because they're both in relationships, which we should talk about because the supporting cast is incredible in this movie.
Because it's Parker Posey and Greg Kinnear.
Is a gem. I think she's one of a kind. I love her so much. And then Greg Kinnear is hilarious in this movie.
I like Parker Posey, and this might come off wrong, but she's so annoying in this movie.
Oh, it's amazing. But
it's perfect.
In a good way.
It's like... that's what you were hired to do.
Yes.
She knows this person. You know, she embodies this character.
I bet she has this person in her life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, she can nail it every time. And it's so great because, like, even there's, like, moments where they're stuck on an elevator later and they're, like, opening up about what they want to do if they ever get off the elevator. She says hers, everybody says hers, and then Tom Hanks gets to, he's like, if I ever get off this elevator, and she just goes, where are my Tic Tacs? And I'm just like, she is a person that we all know.
Yes.
She's so dramatic.
And
it's so funny.
So good. She nails it. And then Greg Kinnear is so awkward and hilarious when he talks to that girl he's flirting with, clearly, even though he's in a relationship with Kathleen Kelly. He's like, yours is the only show I watch.
No. She's like straight up coming on to him.
They both are like eager for it.
Yeah,
but too awkward to do anything about it, kind of a little bit.
But he's like the mouse that wants to be chased by the cat,
yeah.
but pretending like he's like, I didn't know we were flirting.
He's like,
I can't. What?
I'm a hyper intellectual. I'm just here for conversation. And she's like, wow, that's amazing. And then he's just like, yours is the only show I watch. And then it's just so weird and uncomfortable. I'm like, I'm watching two people about to have sex. And
that's the start of a porn right there.
Yeah, it's amazing. But the supporting cast is so good in this. So good.
Yeah, because we get Jean Triplehorn from All in the Family.
Yeah.
As the old lady that works at the shop.
Yeah, who knew Kathleen's mother.
Yeah, and Steve Zahn makes an early in his career appearance.
I love Steve Zahn. He literally, Matt was just like, Steve Zahn's in this movie.
Yeah,
he works at the shop as well.
So Matt and I connected on that one because I was like, oh, Steve Zahn?
Yeah,
dude. Love Steve Zahn.
He's so great.
By the way, young Steve Zahn with that fantastic hair, there's a part of me where I think...
You love him?
Yeah. I think at one time I wanted to have that hair, and then I started growing my hair out, and I realized that it just forms into a mullet. That I'm like, I'll never have Steve Zahn hair.
Steve Zahn, I love. I think I've always been very attracted to Steve Zahn. I love him so much.
Wow, this is the Steve Zahn fan club.
I should just make a Steve Zahn podcast.
I feel like when I saw Steve Zahn in movies, it was just like, that's the guy I want to be. You know, like not necessarily look like, because he's definitely a better looking dude than me, but but just like wanted to be like, you know, like he was so funny, but like kind of he was still like kept his nerdiness, but he was still really funny and stuff like that.
I think I love Joyride.
Joyride's so good, dude, so good. So really excited to see him pop up as one of the people that works at the shop. The shop around the corner is Meg Ryan's shop, and Fox and Sons bookstore is Tom Hanks's bookstore.
What's Tom Hanks's name? I think I've forgotten.
Joe Fox, Fox.
They say these characters' names endlessly.
Yes.
Yeah, so much.
Steve was talking about it right before we started. We're like, we know these characters' names, Joe Fox and Kathleen Kelly. We will never forget these names.
I'm trying to get their names out of my head.
No.
Won't happen.
It's like, who is Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan? Because all I know is Joe Fox and Kathleen Kelly.
Now, I have a question for you guys before we talk more about the movie. We all lived through email. Did anybody do this, though? Like, email people back and forth? I never did. Like, I did, like, the AIM, but...
Yes.
Do you emailed people, like a pen pal sort of thing?
All right, when I got my first computer in 96, 97, it was a big deal. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
We were the first family in the neighborhood to have a desktop computer.
Dope.
My mom got hooked up through work. She worked for a bank, so we had it. And I remember just emailing friends that also had it, just to have them email me back. And we would have entire conversations that we could have just had at school.
Yeah, now that you're saying this, last night we were talking about this briefly. I never did the thing where I met someone in a chat room and then like emailed. Not that.
No.
But I will say there were one or two of my friends who also were first getting computers. And we would email back and forth a little bit. Not too much, but it was more like the excitement that we could.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like it is.
But then we would talk on the phone every day, so it's like we didn't have much to email. Yeah, but we did occasionally, I would say.
I was a phone talker with my friends back in the day, so I don't think I ever did the email thing. And then, after sort of the phone thing went away, before texting, it was AIM, so...
Yeah.
That's I missed the email thing, I guess. I never did this. I never emailed back and forth with a person.
Well, it was stupid.
I think it was more the novelty.
Yeah,
of the
it was the novelty. It was like when texting first came about, and then you're like, it costs 10 cents a text. You still text even though you cost some money.
Yeah.
Like, dude, just wait until class is over.
Or call me. It's free. You have free
Matt,
nights and weekends.
This talking thing you keep talking about, I don't understand.
Well, I don't do it now. It just for listeners' sake.
I love it when I call you, you don't answer,
and then I text you back a minute later.
He does it to me, and I've lived with him for years.
I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. That actually is a mistake. Like, I don't mean to not pick up for you guys, but
Ashley, what's our level 1 to 10 believing this? Is it a 4, a 6?
No, believe me.
I think it's an even 5 because on some days it's 100% true. On some days he's like, I can't talk to people.
That's okay. That's true. But like, okay.
I just assume you're watching a movie.
Yeah, 98% of the time I don't know where my phone is, and then I find it and I shoot
know where it
a
is.
text.
It's resting on top of my candle little thing. Charging.
Yeah, charging because I'm always charging my phone.
This is where mine always is. It's on my desk, and I'm in the living room. Where did I put my phone?
Yeah, usually it's in another room or charging somewhere, and I don't know where my phone is. So, but I will say, for others, not my good friends like you guys, for others, if you call me and I don't pick up and I text you 5 minutes later, it's because I don't want to talk on the phone.
I respect you.
I literally just had a friend in town, and we had the conversation. I went up to her and I was like, she doesn't live here anymore. She lives in a different city. So I was just like, is it okay if I call you sometimes? And she was like, oh my God, yes. And I was like, that's so great that you're fine with that. You know, like either FaceTime or calling. Like, I don't mind talking on the phone. I talk to my grandma and my mom all the time on the phone. Like, it's just normal to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't mind it. I talk to my parents on the phone. I'm not one of those people that doesn't call their parents.
Yeah, but
I
you do it like once a week.
That's true. That's true. It's like it is. It's a once a week
and
like
I'm okay
event.
with
Oh, you do that too?
It's like a once a week event. But like then my best friend Tom,
yes,
I talk to on the phone.
Yeah, you do.
That is a person I talk to on the phone. But other than that, it's texting for me. But anyway, back to You've Got Mail.
Right.
So they email back and forth, and it's anonymous, but they know each other in real life because Tom Hanks is taking over her territory, basically, with the shop.
They don't necessarily know each other yet. They meet within this
They
film.
meet within the time period of we see them emailing each other.
We see her at Shop Around the Corner, which is her shop, And all the people in town are like, did you see they're putting up a monstrosity around the corner, blah, blah, blah. She's like, yeah. And everybody's like, we're going to fight this. And she's like, yeah, no, it's going to be fine. And he's making the plans. He's seeing this plan of building this huge store. And he one day takes his, the weird family situation.
Oh, I love this. It's fucking hilarious.
His aunt and brother.
Right. But
who are two small children.
I couldn't even write notes about it because I was like, wait, I'm lost. What?
So his grandfather's daughter. The grandfather's daughter is technically his aunt, but he's like 30 years older than her.
Right.
And then his father's son from a different marriage recently is his brother.
Right.
So they're small children and they're adorable.
11-year-old Aunt Annabelle and 4-year-old half-brother Matthew.
It's insane. He's only 4?
Yeah, he's little.
Yeah.
He's little.
Wow, that kid is sharp as a tack.
I only know that because I stole it from a website.
That's totally fine. They're there to steal from.
Oh, I believe in stealing.
Yes. But yeah, so then he takes the kids in because they want books and stuff. So he takes them to the shop.
And the story time, and part of me, right when the story time was on, I was like, I want story time.
Yeah, how fun. Did you guys have libraries where they had story time?
Well, we did it in class.
Oh,
like
we
did it
some
in class.
Yeah,
well, the younger grades, we did it in class.
The library we would go to sometimes on the weekends, they would have like a story time thing, and it was really cute.
Story time's amazing.
I hope they still do that.
And so is nap time. I don't care if I'm an adult.
We all need nap.
We all need nap time. I was never. What does it say about me that I didn't like story time? I like to read it on my own.
I like both.
I didn't like.
You're an
story time.
only weird child.
Yeah, I'm an only child.
It probably directly connects to the reasoning you don't like to talk on the phone.
Judging.
It's my self isolation that I do. And
I think that's fine. Maybe you just had a really strong imagination and you could easily lose.
Yeah, when someone else is reading it, you're like, no, it's not my thing.
I think that's the legit answer, but also my self sabotaging isolation that I did as well.
Yeah. So they meet in this moment where they're just like. They're kind of hitting it off a little bit, and
they have chemistry.
Also, the store is really busy on a weekend when this is happening, and they are getting to know their entire lives. And I just said to Matt, I would be the person in line behind being like, can we wrap this up, please? And they're like, oh, no, this is my aunt, and this is my brother, and blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, oh, they're just letting each other know about their entire lives, and I would be the person stuck in line.
Yeah, I'd be right behind them being like, can we hurry this the fuck up?
I'm like, Steve Zahn, help me out, please.
I just want to check out.
Also, it's funny, Steve Zahn is checking them out, but she's talking to them. It's like, so they already have like a thing. And then the little boy knows how to spell his last name, which is Fox, which is the name of the bookstore company, and he only spells that. And she's like, how do you spell dog? And he's just like, F-O-X.
Yeah. And also, Steve Zahn was like explaining to Joe Fox's character that, like, he's like, wow, why is that book so expensive? And he says, no. It's like hand-drawn illustrations. This is why this book is worth so much. And again, that was a line where I go, oh, anti-corporation.
Yeah, it's like there is value in this artistry.
But
the words on the page mean something.
Do you feel like this was a longer script and then someone's like, hey, man, I get it
for the masses,
but this is a romantic comedy?
I don't think so. I think this is just what Nora Ephron does. I just think that this is her
I mean, with her sister being a little bit more
literary type.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe she's like, well, this has to be a little deeper.
She probably
and then the
threw it
second
in there.
draft was probably like, hey, I get it, but we got to make
this
some money.
This movie's 3.5 hours long.
Yeah. I feel like someone who's really huge in the literature, or like very snooty with the, would be like, this must mean this, and they basically wrote Dune, and she's like, yeah, we need this to be 90 minutes.
Well, it's 2 hours
It's
long.
2 hours. It's
long. But
Is
it
it?
didn't. Yeah.
See, does it feel like
Oh, kudos, editor! I did not know that.
You didn't feel it. That's the part of the movie. A lot of stuff happens, but you don't feel it.
Yeah.
This is a
Also,
very full movie, but I can simply explain it.
It's a love letter to New York because you get an entire year. You get every season.
You get every
in New York.
season.
It starts in fall and it ends in summer.
But like, and people liked it. I remember this was a fucking huge movie. Like everybody saw this movie when it came out. Like this was a massive holiday hit. It came out around Christmas.
$250 million in the U.S. box office.
Huge hit. Everybody saw this movie.
And everyone had this VHS, except Matt and I.
Except us, yeah. But I had the DVD though, so there's that.
We had it.
because I knew I wanted to give it a second shot after seeing it in theaters and liking it in theaters, but I was 8. So like I wanted to give it another shot. And
Matt, do you recommend the first 20 minutes of this movie? It's taken us 40 minutes.
Let's speed this along here.
Here, I just want to bring up another side character that nobody's mentioned yet. Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. Dave Chappelle's in this movie.
So good. I do want to say
Fresh-faced
the first like introduction to Dave Chappelle, it's like him walking side by side with Tom Hanks. And I told Matt later, I was like, that moment of them just riffing, it felt like 2 comedians just like killing it. They were on top of the world and they were doing their comic thing because they're comedians.
I think that's what's amazing about Tom Hanks is he can keep up with any stand-up comedian.
He did so much comedy earlier in his career.
Like that was based
he
in
is
his
a comedian.
life.
He's a comedian.
Yeah, he's just a different type of comedian.
But he broke through to like a different career, basically.
Well, yeah,
but
then he did Forrest Gump in Philadelphia, and you're like, bam,
Oscars.
You can do whatever you want.
Life is different.
Yeah.
But no, I love Dave Chappelle in this, and
he's so fresh-faced.
They have great chemistry. Every pairing in this movie has good chemistry.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I think the year before he did Con Air.
Damn.
Nice.
Dave Chappelle is just making those side characters.
And this was the same year as Half Baked, the movie he top-lined.
No.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Really? I thought Half Baked was like 96 or something. But
no, that was 98.
I will take your word for it.
Does he have braces in this movie or a retainer? Did anybody notice that?
Oh, no. I don't know.
Okay. When he's like talking, he's like, ooh, he's looking into the restaurant for Tom Hanks because he doesn't want to meet her. He's like, I don't know what she looks like. Oh my God. And he's like, she kind of looks like that Kathleen Kelly chick. And he's just like, oh, well, she's cute. Yeah. When he's talking, he looks down and it's almost like I can see like a Invisalign or something. I didn't know if he had braces for a while or not.
Interesting.
Which, by the way, like, Dave Chappelle should get into more movies in these like smaller parts if he doesn't want to be able. Because I really, when you look at
Star is Born. He's in Star is Born.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
I only want to see it for Dave Chappelle.
I haven't seen it either, but I know he's like the sidekick again in that.
But his ability to play off the other actors' emotions, I mean, he's really good. And a lot of times, you know, you kind of blow off comedians. A lot of them nowadays you don't because they're winning Oscars. But it's like just to watch his ability to completely play off Tom Hanks' emotions in that one scene. Dave, Stars Born, keep going.
Yeah. No, David Chappelle is a good actor, besides being a good comedian.
A kind of recent example is like The Big Sick, Ray Romano. Because he did comedy, and then he did like American television for so long. Then he does A Big Sick, and it's like, yeah, this makes sense. You're like working off other, like Camille's like a comedian. And so it works very well.
I think the reason so many comedians go into drama sometimes so well is because they're constantly playing off something else.
It's a character.
Yeah, it's a bouncing lines.
Yeah.
I heard, oh my gosh, I just forgot his name. Dr. Malcolm. Jurassic Park.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum was talking about how he learned how to act. He didn't learn how to act. He learned how to reply from another actor.
Yeah.
And like, I forget the type of method they call that.
Like action and response or whatever.
Yeah, whatever with it. But
it's the Uta Hagen method.
Uta Hagen?
Yeah, they do the call and response thing. So I learned that too.
Wow, actor encyclopedia. But yeah, anyway, I heard him say that, and he was talking about Steve Martin.
Yes.
How beautifully he does it.
So
and he goes, because he's a stand-up comedian. That's what he does to the crowd.
It's complicated. Also, like a Nancy Meyers,
yeah,
right?
Nancy Meyers movie.
It's kind of similar or whatever. Steve Martin's in it playing opposite Meryl Streep and Alec Baldwin. And Steve Martin is the star. He's so good at it. It's because he can react to this normal situation that's happening. He's kind of like the Dave Chappelle like it's the setup.
But back to this film when they, I mean, they're falling in love. Her business, even though she starts to fight for it, she gets the media out there, and they're basically like, Fox and Sons Books is bad. But she still goes down, which is regrettable. It's sad. But I did like her older friend who had worked for her mother previously, how she's just like...
Birdie?
Mm-hmm. That's a perfect name for her, too. And
Jean Stapleton?
I don't think she actually says it, but basically she just says, well, the ball keeps bouncing, and your mother never had to deal with that, so don't blame yourself, because just keep going.
Because she's like, I want to ask my mom what to do.
Yeah.
And then she like looks at the little locket. She's like, what to do? And she's like, she doesn't know because this isn't her world.
Yeah.
This is completely different.
I do like that character where it's like, don't be so hard on yourself.
And she also dated the leader of Spain.
Yeah.
Which is just like a weird thing.
She's like the kooky old woman.
I do love how they were smart enough in this script to like, nope, that's it. That's all we say.
It's like, that's her character. She's the kooky old lady who's super supportive, but she's going to have some weird stories.
Yeah.
And she won't elaborate on anything.
See, she has seen some shit.
So Kathleen and Joe are kind of falling in love, though, even though he has taken down her bookstore.
First, they fall in hate.
Well, they fall in hate, of course, because it's a romantic comedy. And they go back trading insults on each other. They hurt each other's feelings. And then they end up falling in love. But, like, she's still in love with the person she's talking to as well.
The reason they fall in love, Joe, they're both in relationships. Joe loves the person, Shop Girl. He loves Shop Girl.
Yeah.
She loves NY152. The reason he starts to love Kathleen is because he finds out it's her.
She doesn't.
He shows up. They're going to finally meet in a coffee shop, of course, because we're in New York. And he gets there and he's like, this woman hates me and I hate this woman. But he's like, but I know this intimate side of her. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and he's indirectly, she's been telling him about her struggles, about the business. And now he's like, it makes so much sense now, like what she's saying.
Well, I think his character also is two-faced. He is this incredibly charismatic guy, and then he has to turn around and be a cold-hearted business person.
But that's not like really who he is.
No,
yeah.
But it's like where he's just like, it's business, it's not personal. And I think, this is just me, I think it's a reflection of who he knows he is.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, she's pretending to hate me, she's doing all this, but I know the other side. Yeah. I know that's there.
He gets an unfair advantage because then he like fucks with her, which is really fun. It's my favorite. He's like, I'm going to trick her into being friends with me by using all of this information and manipulating the conversations online.
Yeah. I have a feeling that like in the script, they could have just wrote like Lauren Ipsum for all of Tom Hanks' lines. Cause when you let him go, that's what he does. The comedian. Yeah. Now, I'm sure, I don't know, Meg, how good of actor she is with that. Non-scripted or anything. I don't know if hers is scripted and everything, but
he's like so gestural and everything. Yeah, like his face when he's like typing, he's not saying anything, but he's like mumbling to himself. He's like does the Godfather thing, the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, and then he's just like he's so funny in his mannerisms.
Well, he does the iconic thing that's in all the trailers where he blows on his fingers and then he does the reach up and push down on the
when he gets
button.
excited about the business talk. Yeah.
It's so good.
But what she might not be as good with the expressiveness on it.
She's not a comic performer.
But, she does the cute.
But when she's punching and preparing to get into the fight in the media,
it's funny.
That's funny, cute, adorable, charming. I mean, she's just, that's why she's America's sweetheart. You're like,
what she made her bread and butter on, doing that.
I would like to talk about my favorite scene of the movie, which I think is the most iconic scene, which is pretty much towards the end of the second half where it's going to flip, where they start to become friends. When she's sick and he just shows up with flowers. And she's just like still kind of savage at him.
Hello.
Hello. What are you doing here?
I heard you were sick, and I was worried. And I wanted to make
What?
Is there somebody here?
No. Oh, it's the Hope Shopping Network.
Oh, you buy any of those little porcelain dolls?
I was thinking about it. Hey, you put me out of business.
Yes, I did.
Did you come to gloat?
No.
To offer me a job?
I would never...
Because I have plans. I have plenty of offers. You know, I got offered a job by...
By my former...
Well, yeah, actually by... Oh, your former?
We broke up.
Oh, well, that's too bad. You were so perfect for each other. Oh. I don't mean to say things like that. No matter what you've done to me, there's no excuse for my saying anything like that. But every time I see you...
Things like that just fly out of your mouth.
Yes.
But she's like, I don't care. I'm not that person to be mean or whatever.
But she's also cleaning up.
And she's cleaning up all the tissue. She's like, oh my God, this place is a mess. And she puts on a trench coat, which is hilarious. And she's stuffing her pockets with like Kleenexes and gross stuff. And he comes in and he goes, oh, we broke up. And she's like, oh, well, isn't that great for you? Like, she says something so snide remark, and then she just slaps her mouth with her own hand. And her little movement, she's like, I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that. Like, she's all stuffy and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, she really shines in that scene.
Well, yeah, after she loses her business, they start hanging out all the time. And I can't remember when it happens, but he says something to her, and she's about to hit him back. You know, with that counterpunch, and he puts like his hand over.
It's the scene I'm talking about.
It's that same scene.
Yeah, and he's like, before you say that and possibly regret it, I think he kind of repeats what she says or he says in an email.
Right.
And then
torture yourself about it for years.
She says,
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Because she finally said everything she wanted to say to him, really mean at that coffee shop in his face, and he's like, fuck. That hurt me really bad. And then he left, and then he like realized how like he hurt her too.
Yeah.
But then she immediately wrote an email to NY152 about, it was a glorious moment where I said everything I've ever wanted to say to someone who I hate, and I feel terrible. And I'm beating myself up, and then
that's why he says that, and then it's like, that's what kicks off, I think, her liking him. And then obviously
because he gets her, but it's like kind of cheating because he knows her already.
And when they set up the second meeting, who walks up? It's the Tom Hanks chasing Brinkley.
Oh no, there's more to it though. He sets it up in a very specific way.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, do you want to meet me for lunch on Saturday or whatever over there for lunch? And she's like, yeah.
Which is before the time she's supposed to meet up
and
with.
then he goes home and he writes her an email that same day in the evening in the park. So he's making it so he sees her before she sees him.
And he tells her how he feels before the day.
He's like, in a different world, we would be together because this is how I feel about you.
Yeah, and it's so sweet. And she's like, ha, because she feels it too. And it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But then, she knows Brinkley from previous emails, and he's like, Brinkley, and he's chasing a dog down. And then she has the final iconic line of, I wanted it to be you so badly.
I wanted it to be you so badly.
And then they embrace, and that's You've Got Mail.
NY152 and Shop Girl gonna how do you make AOL babies? I don't know.
Well, they're the most non-sexual beings in the world, so they may not ever have babies.
They actually have no private parts.
That's what I was going to say. A long time ago, they're in relationships, and those relationships are also not sexual at all.
Even like Parker Posey, who could be more...
roommates.
Yeah.
Like, I think you could count the amount of kisses in this movie on one hand.
Yeah.
Well, it's always like on the high cheek.
Yeah, it's very non-threatening, non-sexual.
Did you catch at the beginning of the film when he meets his father's new wife, the young woman, and she asks for a kiss, and then he goes to kiss her on the cheek, and then she
moves it.
Yeah. What was that about?
She wants to fuck him.
Well,
she
puts her hand on his leg at that party too, and he has to get up and move away from her.
She's just like a vicious.
She just wants to fuck,
And then she leaves with Nanny Maureen.
She runs off with the nanny.
She's just a skeezy character, which is a funny random thing they don't really focus on. I love the dad in it. He's hilarious.
Yeah, the dad had all the one-liners that cracked me up.
For the dad and the grandpa, for stone cold businessmen that are playing the Republican Reagan, agreed is good type thing, which a lot of movies in the 80s and 90s played as the 90s, hell, if you were a businessman, you're bad.
Yeah.
And almost in everything, especially kids films. They were really likable.
They're hilarious.
I feel like they would bash liberals, but at the same time,
in
help
a funny way.
Yeah,
they're '90s Republicans, not today's scary Republicans.
It's pretty neutral. They're just over the middle part.
Yeah.
But also these characters, they break up with their significant others around the same time, and so he breaks up with her in the elevator after she screams about her
Parker
TikTok.
Posey.
And then I love the scene where Meg Ryan and Greg Kinnear break up.
Where they're just this isn't working, right?
Let me say it. And then she's like, you don't love me. And he's like, no. And she's like, me neither. And they're so delighted about it.
And they're like, oh, thank God. Such relief. Yeah,
they're
it's a good scene.
the chemistry between everyone is so delightful.
Never had that breakup before.
I know, what the hell?
Yeah, that's the best case. That's the fantasy, the best case scenario type thing.
Like
that's what this movie does. It's fantasy.
Hey, yo, I want to go this way. You want to go that way? It's done.
She's like,
bada bing, bada boom.
I lost my business and my partner moved out, so I'm paying for this beautiful New York apartment on my own. Life is great.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what?
It's like a Friends scenario where you're like, how are you paying for this rent?
It's like there's some severe rent control going on over there.
I assumed it was her mother's. She inherited it, maybe moved in from her shitty apartment. She doesn't have a mortgage. I'm dreaming here, folks. I'm dreaming.
I don't know.
Maybe her mom used to make a lot of money off the bookstore.
Oh, I'm sure it was a profitable business because it was like the town's, or it was the corner staple. Like, you know, that borough or wherever it is. Like, I don't know.
But her apartment was freaking gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the tile in that
Crown
thing?
Mountain. Oh, my God.
You
can tell, like, we
we
really
just
want
went New
houses.
York. We went New York Jewish. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
I have never been in so love. I've never been in love with a toilet that much. Ever.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's also like our age showing, like we want a house that has like really nice architecture and shit.
I kind of want to be wearing a sweater with shoulder pads and Mike Myers wig hair from Coffee Talk.
Coffee Talk. Linda Richmond, is that who you're
Yes!
referring to? Linda Richmond, she shaped me.
That's a movie we sadly never got.
Oh yeah, that would have been
Why
great.
the hell not?
Mike, get to
I
work.
tell you why. No, I don't. I got nothing.
Like we got Pat, but we didn't get Linda Richmond.
Yeah.
Oh.
They freaking had Barbara Streisand and Madonna on there. And,
Madonna.
Madonna.
I love it. This accent is starting to take over.
That was my life. That was how I learned comedy. I was like, I got this.
I think before we go any further, we should maybe bring it back to You've Got Mail.
How dare you? I was talking about the flawless chemistry and design.
Every day you ruin all our dreams.
What did we think of the movie? Do we recommend this one?
I think you can skip it. I'm just kidding. It's awesome.
I like it. It's not my favorite, but I recommend it. I like it.
Before I stuck in this tape, I was like, hell no. Fuck this film. But
You enjoyed it. You smiled.
But at the end of the film, I enjoyed it. I can't help it.
It's a good movie.
You didn't realize how long it is. It's simple. It's easy.
It's cute. It makes you smile. Makes you feel good. Nothing wrong with that.
And Tom Hanks is so good. I
It's
love
got
it.
so much dated, lovely late 90s nostalgia.
Oh, the fashions. It's like very like, I don't know, very specifically 90s New York fashions. Very simple, dark colors, like layers.
No one has a body form, you know. It's just
Oh my
like
gosh.
all super layered.
Before her date, before her like final reveal of her going to the park, her pants are like
enormous,
puffy pleated khakis that flood so far on the bottom and are up to her ribcage.
Oh, they're going to come back.
Oh, I want a pair right now.
That's happening now, I think.
I remember as a kid, like, we had so many layers. It got to the point, like, big jeans, or the big Dockers, and then, like, suit jackets, or sport jackets, were, like, basically double the size.
Yes.
Why?
Fashion.
Fashion.
Yeah.
Because we like to fashion.
What,
what's going to the museum?
This is the second time I've had to reclaim my property from you. That belongs in a museum. So do you.
What are we going to put in the museum this week, guys? Every week we take something that we really like or we need to learn from and put it away to look at in our little museum, our museum of plastic. Do we know what we're putting in there this week?
Film and plastic. I'm gonna put in the opening credits. I put it up on YouTube. I already said it at the beginning. Even though there's a lot of things in here I could put in.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna stick with that because it's so gorgeous.
It's delight. You go for it, dude.
I do think I'm going to put in the breakup scene between Meg Ryan and Greg Kinnear because but it's also so funny. And it's like, I don't know, it's like the most real in this movie that is fantastical. And obviously we were just saying that that's like the best case scenario situation in a breakup or whatever. But the way they talk to each other is so real. it transcends their kind of characters they're playing and just becomes like you're hanging out with these characters. So I think that was a really good performance there, and I thought that was a really like well done scene.
I have so many things that could go in there. Like, I love the scene where she's sick. I love the awkward scene where Greg Kinnear's talking to the news lady and they want a bone. But I think what I'm going to put in there is just Brinkley. The dog, the golden retriever.
It's a cute dog.
It's a cute dog, and every time they show him, like, he's just straight up laying on the bed at one point, and I'm like, look at that floopy boy.
It's a cute dog.
It's
a cute movie dog.
Movie, and if you got a feel-good, happy dog, like, golden.
Yeah, they always got that dumb smile on their face.
He's so happy. And he's like straight up jumping on them when they're kissing at the end.
Yeah, it's really funny.
So funny.
Oh, yeah, I laughed at that because it jumps all the way up to Tom Hanks' like shoulders, almost like he wanted to ride, like
give him a hug.
I think there's an interview somewhere where they're like, oh yeah, that dog was like, we had to try not to laugh, like as they panned because the dog was so excited.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Oh, so cute.
Good call on Brinkley there.
Thank you.
All right, Ashley and Matt, once again, why don't you plug the podcast?
We have another podcast where Matt and I are watching the 100 greatest films, American films of all time, as said by the AFI list. So naturally, our podcast is called the AF High List because we do so stoned out of our mind. Yes, we are watching classic movies like Citizen Kane, Some Like It Hot, Star Wars, which is an episode featuring Steve. We're all high. And then we're high again when we're talking about it.
Yes. So
it's super fun, weekly podcast, and we're like almost to the 20s now, which is crazy.
Yeah. So we have made it we've made a dent in the list.
Yeah.
And,
we're almost a fifth done.
And we've managed to take our fun hobby of relaxing and smoking and turn it into a job.
Yeah, we can't enjoy anything in this life.
But yeah, so
start giving them money so they can make some dough off this.
Yeah,
please.
So listen to that podcast. You can find us on iTunes and Podbean for now, and I believe YouTube. And then you can follow us on our social media at AF High List on Instagram and the AF High List podcast on Facebook.
Yeah, the one nice thing about Podbean is it puts it on a bunch of other stuff that you don't even realize it's on.
So if you search AF High List, you'll probably find us on something.
It's the thing with a bunch of pot leaves on it.
Yeah. It's true.
Duh.
And you guys did an African Queen not too long ago, and I'm like, oh man, what is that like high?
Yeah, we watched Schindler's List high.
Yeah. But actually, because it's Spielberg and he's an amazing filmmaker,
fantastic.
like it's actually a pleasant experience, despite the fact of the depressing subject matter. Spielberg knows how to make such a good movie, regardless. You're just like,
we ate it up. It was awesome.
We ate it up.
All right, so we're going to introduce a little early. Well, I guess it won't be early.
No, this is a week before.
But, it's early now because we're recording this in February of 2018.
Yes.
Kidding. So we are going to do something that... First, we were going to do action films in December.
Yeah.
But Matt brought up a good point. Hey, let's not just be like, now we're men again off Ladies Month.
Yeah, it's like, come on, dude. Like, chill out.
Yeah.
So, and I was just thinking...
Also, I like action films.
Well, I just really like the line, karate kick into Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, we can karate kick in any holiday. We can karate kick Valentine's
into Easter.
Day.
Well, actually,
Easter.
What helped was the next day I was like, hey, Matt, actually, it's really hard to find someone kicking or punching on a cover.
Really?
Yeah.
Jim Cotta?
Well, I mean, there's
where are we going to find that VHS?
Yeah. Okay. There's not as many. I went through every VHS here the next morning. I go, I have one. And it's on the back. It's not even on the front. I'm like, shit.
So you came up with a pretty fun option, a different option for Christmas this year.
Friend at work, we were just talking, we're bouncing, and you know how you get down that rabbit hole of weirdness?
Yeah.
Somehow we came out of that with, why don't you just do a very Busey Christmas?
Of course, why not?
So, each week before, one of us is going to give the other one
a Christmas gift.
Christmas gift with the Busey movie in it. And may you note that I said Busey movie. There are two Buseys.
Yes, I love Jake Busey. Sorry.
It could be Gary or Jake.
So week 1 of December, here we go. I'm giving Matt.
So I have no idea what the first Busey movie is going to be.
I hope it's one
for. So I'm going to do the one next week, but you're giving me this one. So yeah, we're going to surprise each other.
Switch off. Yeah.
Every week here.
I hope it's something very specific in there.
and I gave it to him in very designer paper.
And we are watching next week, as I'm just revealing now, Surviving the Game with Ice-T, Rutger Hauer, and Gary Busey.
And
Whoa.
May I add, I've had this for quite a while unopened.
Can I just say that the cover art is fantastic?
Yes, so we're going to be talking about the Ernest Dickerson 1996 movie, I think it is. 1994 movie, I think. Surviving the Game. And then come back next week and I'm going to give Steve a present, which I will not... You wrap this nicely. What I'm probably going to do is put a piece of paper and some tape on some things, but you're a good rapper. I'm not.
I'll wrap it.
I don't know if that was nicely. If you'll notice,
Peace sign duct tape?
Yes. Yeah.
It's beautiful. And yeah, so we're going to talk about Surviving the Game for our first week of Busey Christmas.
I've not seen this in years, so it's going to be exciting.
Yes. So come back next week for that. Rate and review us on iTunes. Find us on Podbean. Tell your friends about us. And shoot us an email.
Yeah, analogjonestof@gmail.com. And that's Matt's responsibility to reply.
I don't have a lot of responsibilities in this life, but that is one of them.
Yes, please send us your emails. We will read them online because they are glorious.
Yes. And thank you for the last 2 weeks for Ashley for coming on and talking movies with us. It has been a blast.
Of course. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, we've had some great conversations that have broke off to things I never thought they would have.
That's what you get when you have me.
All right, remember to be kind.
Rewind.
Hey, Toxic here.
And Meridon, too.
We're the hosts of the Overleague podcast.
Are you a fan of Overwatch League, or just a fan of Overwatch in general?
Well, if you are, we break down matches and all other Overwatch happenings, and we won't judge your main.
Tune in every other Tuesday to the Overleague on Geekscape and wherever you get your podcasts.